cord today. So let's come on up. We're going to start standing just for a moment. Let's kind of, roll our shoulders. My head's going to cut off a little bit here just for a second, but I want it to stay down for when we come down to the ground. And then let's just open those hands out. So palms are lifted, thumbs are back. Feet are a little bit separated, knees are soft. Press the hips forward and open the chest. Gotcha, Anne-Marie. Perfect. Oh, I remember. Okay, yeah, and your whole story is making sense. When, yeah, the little boy you used to babysit. Oh, I bet he's got all grown up. Oh, right there, big stretch. Nice. And then we'll interlace the hands. You can stand a little straighter and think about just pulling the knuckles down. So not so much about pulling back yet, just pull the knuckles down. So you start to kind of feel this stretch through the neck. So knuckles pull down, then pull the shoulder blades back. And then if you want to bring that heart back lifted and pull the arms away from you a little bit, you can. Nice. And then we'll pull the navel in. Let the knees become really soft. Let the chest fall onto the quads. And let the arms open up overhead. Now this is that place where if this does not feel good, you don't like being upside down like this, you can lean into a chair. You can fold over the side of a couch. You can keep your hands interlaced or you can let go of them. Soft knees so that we're not overly straining the hamstrings. And then take an inhale. On our exhale, we'll release those hands down to the floor. Step your heels out and let your toes come closer together than your heels. So toes are going to turn in, heels are going to turn out. Maybe you're in this halfway lift position. Maybe this is enough. Maybe you start to dive that nose and forehead down towards the ground. Coming into this deep forward fold with the toes turned in. So by turning the toes in, we'll get that stretch along that outer side of the calf as well as the hamstrings. Nice. And then from here, we'll lift that chest up halfway. We're going to pull our heels in close together. So rotate those heels close together and we'll start to come down into this Malasana squat. Right? So if coming all the way down here doesn't work, you can totally be more here in a plie, right? And just a little bit of rocking and moving. Just loosening into those hips. Hang out right there while I lower the camera just a tiny bit more as we're making our way completely down to the ground. Now, some of you are going right to it. You've got that full Malasana, right? You can always see those elbows, press those inner thighs away. So this can be a great stretch. It can also be quite challenging. Nice. And then from here, we'll release the hands. We'll come onto our knees, curling our toes under. This is where we'll start to step back onto the heels, getting that stretch into the bottoms of the feet. Hands can stay on the floor or maybe come up. So this pose, and where we'll rock back in a minute, if this bothers your knees or any part of your legs, you can take your legs out into extension in front of you. And I just want you to work on flexing and pointing. Flexing and pointing. So if this bothers you, just work on some flex and some point. If you're okay here, hang out a few more seconds. Oh, yay, I love it. Katie, your daughter's doing it with you. I only see one. Are they both there? Awesome. Welcome, Liz, Mary, Molly, Anne Marie, Jenny, Nisi, Valerie, Arlene, Steph, Erin, Emily, Christine. There's still people coming in. I'll get through the rest of you here in a moment. From here, hands come to the ground. This is where we'll rock back towards the heels, letting the knees and the body weight stay forward. So if none of this feels good to you, I want you just to simply be flexing and pointing your feet. So we're working that movement in the ankle. Welcome, Emily, Erin, I might have said that already. Suzanne, Linda, Lauren, Lindsay. Welcome, Alyssa. I might be saying some of your names twice. Everything moves around as people log in. Sandra, Sharon, Casey, Suzanne. Looks like we have about 36 people in the house. Awesome, right here. Oh. And then from here, go ahead and allow yourself to come back forward. We're going to bring the right leg forward. We're going to work into that pigeon. So we're going to bring the right leg across the mat. So right shin comes across the mat and start to pull back through the left leg. If you don't like typical pigeon, remember the seated or laying on your back for stretch can be fabulous. If you're good with pigeon, you try to lift up off of that right hip a little bit. Right? Think about squaring your shoulders and your hips. You can stay here. You can lower down to your forearms. You can lower all the way to your belly. Try to lightly flex that right foot. And then just think about gently pulling a little bit to the left. So I don't want to like overly pull to the left, but that little shift to the left kind of deepens that stretch into your right hip. Nice. This can be a little bit tough on the knee. So remember, you can always take the 4 stretch. A couple more breaths here. Nice. And then we'll slowly make our way up. We're just going to step into this right hip, pull our left leg around and take the right leg and start to reach it back. Or take the 4 stretch on the other side. So again, we'll pull up off the left hip. Now one side's usually a little tighter, right? So take your time, wiggle around, gently flex the left foot. Think about pulling gently to the right. Shoulders in front of your hips, maybe staying here, maybe coming down onto the forearms. Just taking a little bit of time. Take a few breaths here. So this is one of those poses that a lot of people love, right? A lot of people love pigeon. But just because a lot of people love something doesn't mean that everybody does. So if this does not feel good to you, right? 4 stretch, seated, reclining. Are great alternatives, as well as any other pose, any other stretch that you just like. A couple more breaths here. And then we'll start to lift ourselves up, pressing back, coming to all 4s. Take a couple of cat-cows here. So drop the belly, lift the heart. Oh, and then go through cat, rounding the belly, tucking the chin. And you can work as slowly as you like here. Maybe pausing in each position for even a breath or 2, right? You don't have to float with each breath. I invite you to take a moment here and get rid of any thoughts that say you should be doing this a certain way, right? Anything that your inner voice is telling you you should or shouldn't be doing, right? Just get rid of that. And I want you to do whatever your body says, ooh, that feels good. So you can stay right here with the cat-cow, doing a few more cat-cows. Or if down dog sounds good to you, you can press up into down dog and maybe take the hips side to side. You could take the hips side to side in cat-cow. These are just some options, just for a few breaths here. A little bit of movement to your body that might feel good. Again, telling that inner voice that says you're doing something wrong, to hush up, right? You're doing what feels good. And then when you're ready, we'll drop down. We'll come in either child's pose or puppy, whichever one you like the best. So child's pose, the bottom's back on the heels, the arms are reached forward. Puppy gives more space into that knee joint. So the bottom would stay up. We'd lower that chest down. anywhere in between these two poses. Puppy tends to be a little more straining on the shoulders, but less on the knees. Child's pose can be a little tougher on the knees, less on the shoulders. Again, invite your body to move a little bit. Nice slow movements. Nothing too fast, nothing too intense. Couple of more breaths wherever you are. If you want to try bringing the palms of your hands together and lifting the thumbs to the back of the head, pulling back through your triceps, that can feel really good. Just a couple of options here. And then we'll release. Come on up onto your knees. We're going to bring our right leg forward and hinge into that low runner's lunge. Now this can be a little hard if you're on a hard floor on that bottom left knee. Feel free to bring a pillow under it. You can also always curl the toe under, come here. Hands can stay on the ground, they can come up to take that stretch deeper. Nice. Take a couple of breaths here. Nice. One more nice big inhale and exhale. We'll bring the hands down very gently, rocking back, straightening this front right leg. Pressing the hamstring down towards the ground. Pull the chin towards the toes. Ears away from the shoulders. If anybody wants to go towards their splits here by sliding this right foot forward, you can. You don't have to. Some days I do, some days I don't. If you think about kind of locking that heel into the mat, locking it there and then trying to make the leg as long as you can. So think about taking the femur bone and pressing it towards the back of the room. There's just very subtle changes in the movement, but it might bring that stretch to the just perfect place for you. Nice. And then we'll gently come up. You can bring this right leg behind you and the left leg forward. Lift that right knee a couple of times. Find that place to bring it down. Your right toes can be curled under, they can be flat, really whatever your preference is. Lengthening long. Hands can stay on the ground or come up. You can also raise an arm. And taking the stretch as deep as you like. Bothers your knee, remember a pillow under your knee. You could also take a knee to glute stretch here. You could do this standing. So I could come all the way up into standing to stretch it, or my hands could be on the ground, right, protecting the knee in any way you need to. And then dropping and rocking back. So stretching through that hamstring. And sorry, I didn't specify it so much on the first side, right? I can do this standing also. So I know Kelsey, that's working with your knees a little bit. You can do that standing if being down on the floor is uncomfortable. You can do it in a seated. If you come to chair fit with me, we do this stretch all the time seated. Think about pulling the chin towards the toes, locking in the heel, pull the femur back. Nice stretch right there, a couple of breaths. So I believe we got into hamstrings, calves, quads, hip flexors, glutes, arms. We got almost all the limbs of our body. Of course, our abs, our back play into that. Nice, right there. And then gently Start to bring it in, maybe press into a down dog one more time, or maybe just stay on all fours and shake a leg out, or maybe stand up. If you are going on about your day after this and you would like to walk your feet up to your hands, pause in a forward fold, and then bend the knees, bring the hands onto the quads to slowly round up. Or if you get to stay in Shavasana for a minute or two, feel free to do that as well. Thank you all so much for joining me. Enjoy. I'll be back later this evening for yin. Thanks, everybody. Oh, all those smiley faces. I love it. Sweat, shine, sweat, smile, shine. Get them all in order. We didn't sweat so much in here, but we're definitely shining and smiling. Bye, everyone.